So, Dr. Andrew is alive. The attack by Werner von Strucker has failed. Thankfully, because Coulson has assigned a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent to look after him. Doesn't really explain why Werner was running out of that store before it exploded with such a look of absolute terror in his face. Could Andrew be holding something back? Plus, May recruits Bobby to go after Ward, and Coulson and Rosalind Price have an interesting series of conversations. It's all on this week's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Season 3, Episode 6, Among Us Hide. So, spoilers ahead, just so you've been warned. So we return this week back to S.H.I.E.L.D. and the pursuit of the Inhumans. Now after the debacle with the assault on Andrew, Hunter has been sidelined and he is not very happy about it. And he spends much of the episode kind of wandering from agent to agent to try and find something to do, maybe to try and get a little bit of redemption back for him. But May, freshly angered off of the assault on Andrew and really mad, recruits Bobby, pulls her out of her imposed recovery period, and takes her and goes back after Ward. Now there is an interesting, nice little fight between her and May. Between Bobby and May, and it's always nice to see these two really talented, physically talented actresses perform fights. They do them incredibly well, and they're always very riveting. This, of course, Bobby is kind of resisting. May basically attacks her and forces her to respond. May's lesson being within this is that what's holding Bobby back now is her mind, her assumptions that she isn't good enough, that she hasn't completely healed. Whereas May is trying to say, no, actually the injuries that you suffered are going to give you experience. This is going to actually make you a better fighter, which does come back around at the end when Bobby takes care of the Hydra agent in the pool. Do not be in water when somebody has shock sticks. Those stunning batons of hers took him out pretty quickly. I'm sure she didn't leave him in the pool to drown. We didn't have to see anything after that. But considering that they were after information, and this is Ward's right-hand guy, I'm assuming they're going to keep him alive, and there's going to be some interrogations coming up. Now meanwhile, Coulson is supposed to be visiting with Rosalind Price and getting a tour finally of the ATCU facility. Of course, just after she picks Coulson up, not in front of the S.H.I.E.L.D. base, which she's a little disappointed about, she gets a phone call that everything has to be delayed and she's going to take Coulson back. He's not having any of it. He is sticking with Rosalind until he gets to see the facility. So we get a little sideline trip to what appears to be Rosalind's house. And her house has been broken in. She throws a little shade towards Coulson, suspecting him. Hey, it's amazing that my house was broken into on the one day I'm supposed to be out and with you. But Coulson isn't really buying it. He does a little back and forth in the episode. I think he is initially resistant towards Rosalind's kind of offerings and information and makes a straight statement to him. Your house is basically broken into and you're getting burgers from my favorite place. I think you're making me try to like you, or you're trying to show me something that I don't want to see. In which case he is correct. When they finally get to the ATCU's facility and he sees the people being put in a suspension gel, basically a form of suspended animation, he is not happy with it. He has the response that through the monitors that Skye and Mac are watching through, she is hoping that he's horrified by it. His face, of course, doesn't really tell what's going on in his mind, though he does say straight out, this is a horrible thing. This is, what are you doing with this? And she establishes a little sympathy with the idea that her husband had died due to cancer. Wouldn't it have been so nice if she could put him into some sort of suspended animation and just let him stay by until there's a cure that's found. And that gets to Coulson, or at least it appears to. I'm suspecting that there's a lot more going on with her house and what she is presenting than the truth. She's an accomplished liar, she's an accomplished spy. Why would she be very truthful and honest with Coulson going forward? When he sees her house, one thing to notice, a lot of Margaret Thatcher books, seems odd. All the furniture is new, even the well-placed bat right there. This really seems to be fishing more of an image that she's trying to pour out to get him to get some sympathy for her with what she is presenting, to get a little bit more information out of him, or at least lower his defenses on what is going on. So we also get a little bit of Fitz and Simmons in this episode. Not too much. They're still pursuing the portal. Gemma is, I don't know, maybe feeling a little guilty about pulling Fitz into this. Fitz, of course, he loves Gemma. He is going to do whatever it takes to get Will back, because that is what Gemma wants. Also, as Fitz looks at it, Will saved Gemma's life. Will kept her alive while she was off the planet, and therefore he sees that he owes him to pull him back. Though he is doing a bit of research on his own on the side to take a look at Will and see what type of person he is, what exactly is it that happened. And then there is Ward. Now with Werner's failure, he is on the run from Ward. He understands Ward does not appreciate failure in any sense. You fail, you die. So Werner's in the wind, Ward is looking for him. And in the midst of all of these, he gets a call from Powers Booth. Now he's not named in this character, I believe his name is Malik, it's attributed in future episodes. But Powers Booth actually has appeared before in a Marvel film. He was one of the world security heads in the first Avengers film, and we never actually saw his face, we just heard him. But carrying this character on into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think is a really brilliant maneuver. One, Powers Booth is amazing. But two, it carries on some of that hidden Hydra in the midst of S.H.I.E.L.D. Feeling. And it makes a little sense, why was the World Security Council all ready to send off a nuclear bomb? Well, of course, obviously, Hydra's partly behind S.H.I.E.L.D. But two, especially with so many Hydra heads in the midst of S.H.I.E.L.D., and especially in the World Security Council, sending a nuclear weapon will take out the aliens and the Avengers, who could prove a possible future threat to Hydra, which of course they did, specifically Captain America. Now, Werner has gone to Powers Booth to try and get some assistance. He is on the run from Ward. Powers Booth character being a high established Hydra position, Werner's going to him to try and get some help. So of course, Powers Booth reaches out to Ward, trying a little bit of a connection, but not so much as to smack Ward down in any sense, more to offer his services, and especially does so by offering the location of Werner, which Ward is all about, which is how his guys are able to track him down. So of course, throughout all of this, we have Daisy and Mac and their search for Lash, or more particularly in this episode, they're really looking into the ATCU, but they have certain suspects for Lash because Daisy had seen him, or at least in shadow, turn into a man. They are now figuring, who is this person? Where do they sit? Their suspect is that it's one of the ATCU agents, and that would be why he knows where to be at all times. Specifically, they start looking into Banks, which is Rosalind's right-hand man. And a lot of the episode is pursuing them. That's how Hunter gets on board and tries to get into the good graces. A little sloppily, a little over the top, and kind of unnecessary so. The reality is we all know that Banks isn't it. If we remember back to A Wanted Inhuman, when Hunter was with Coulson and they were meeting with Rosalind Price on the train, Banks was with them. And it was at that moment that Lash attacked the hospital after Lincoln. So we know that Banks isn't Lash. But they do a certain, but there is a certain development in pursuing that, and that does eventually lead them to the ATCU base, where with one of Fitz's little invisible gyrocopters, they're able to take a look inside the facility, and that's where they spot Coulson and Rosalind Price having their nice little conversation we mentioned before. But let's get to the big thing, and that is Andrew. Now, most of the episode, Andrew is in sort of a rehabilitation. He's bored, he's wandering around the S.H.I.E.L.D. labs. He has some nice conversations with Gemma, which gives a nice sort of back and forth. She's kind of laughing at him, feeding his lines back to her about recovery taking time, and people don't look at you the same way. So they have a nice little kind of bonding moment in that. But Andrew does throw out a few little odd statements within the episode, which leads up to the big reveal, obviously, at the end. His refers to, they don't know my strength. He's talking with Gemma, but of course there's referral back to his own strength as Lash. There's also his constant kind of push of trying to find out where Lincoln is. Playing, obviously, the therapist, I am concerned card. But there seems to be something, again, he's pushing a little much. And at the end, when May and Bobby finally catch up to Werner, while Ward's second in command does try to, actually does stab him, trying to kill him and take him out, Werner is able to, at least with his last breaths, reveal the story of what happened in the liquor store. And that is, he was unprepared because Andrew turned into a giant dreadlock creature that we call Lash. Andrew is Lash. It's a final reveal of the episode and does make us think back to maybe a few more different things happened during the vacation, the little Hawaii trip between him and May, which is something we do get into and is previewed in the next episode. Obviously, with this reveal, they want to give it a little bit of backstory. They want to tell what happens. Now, there's a few curiosity points with this. One, has he always been Lash? Is he an established Inhuman? Or did he become, was his powers released due to the Terrigen crystals? Now, if he was on vacation with May and he got, went through Terrigenesis and everything, that would explain why he might have disappeared off. However, if they were spending so much time together, there's an understanding that May would have run into his little post-cocoon remnants and such. So I'm not sure if that's so much of the case. And then, of course, the main thing is just why is he going after the Inhumans? If he's a new turn, is it because he resents himself and feels that getting rid of them is an important thing to protect the race? Was he previously an Inhuman and is now upset about all of the people that have turned without going through the process, without basically being vetted to receive their Inhuman powers, which is what Jiang and the whole group was established to do. So we're kind of curious about what his motivations are. But it is going to create a lot of tension coming forward. Obviously, May in denial of what it is, but even she can't be in denial for too long. I'm assuming next episode is going to blast right into this. And we will be talking about it right here. Please press like if you enjoyed what I had to say. Feel free to subscribe. I enjoy comments. You can leave them in the sections below. Let me know what you think, how I can improve things. I do read and listen to everything that is sent to me. You can catch me on Twitter. I'm at Darren Jakes. We'll see you next week. I'm D. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.